Okay, Outsiders. Massive summary. Okay, Outsiders is basically these barbarians came to Scholastica, led by a barbarian king with zeppelins, and all the rest of that. Came there not much years later when the king Xavier and the prince, his name is Dan, and all that different stuff. And after much fighting and turmoil, Dan and John Johnson, um, along with the new allies, the Camels and Xavier, pushed back these invaders. At the same time, the cavalry commander, Dan, the Prince of Xavier, proved his mettle and destroyed the last piece that is one into space, last piece of the Magondes. And his fame rose to great renown, and he was considered to be a great king. I was Outsiders. Now, part 3, realization of the primes, is doing the Outsiders, but Galactic Police Force helped the two kingdoms fight off against these barbarians. John Johnson realizes universal roots, as in short, of the JS, and decided to travel the stars with these new people. And leaving the planet that he called home, and they went out now the last of the barbarians and their forces and discovering places. After such time, Panty the Albino and Alberto Albino under Carmelo alerted the outsiders to the world in the first place to overthrow the kingdoms and to take over, but they had failed. So Panty the Albino had to take things in their own hands and rose up an Albino army led by Kichuru to overthrow Kamel, kill the prince, and all the forces there. With this, they moved quickly to attack Xavier before the Duke of Orange could realize what was going on. With this, Scholastica had fallen, and the remaining forces of Scholastica rallied behind the Duke of Orange, and the world was once again plunged into war and chaos. During John Johnson's travels, he met up with the Batelocon, then moved also with mercenaries realized their destiny, and George, who was a flying technology because he was insane, a flying jetpack. Anyway, the Thunder, who was a Madonian, came there to get O'Farah, who became the strategist of the Duke of Orange, to realize that she was a Madonian, and not a Sumatran, or Scholastic in that matter. Seeing that the kingdoms had fallen, everybody had to take arms of their own kind. But the Albino were after so much more. They wanted to restore their queen and the first Albino, Carissa Albino, during the Prime era, an era in which the Atlanteans ruled and warped time and space, preventing the universe from being what it truly was. John Johnson returned, furious at this action, and he collaborated with the Allies and destroyed the Albino, chasing them out. And then, after all the Albinos were destroyed, Carissa Albino appeared and went away back in dimensions where the Cthulhu came. During this time, the Albino Cthulhu forces enslaved many in the dimensions, including a young warrior named Brendan, who was fed up with Albino and wanted nothing more than destroy them. So he collaborated with the Scholastic forces and the Allies to help them in the dimensions. As Carissa was moving forward, trying to escape these people and try to get what she wanted to do to prevent the Atlanteans from returning, she had no choice but to take down Brian for good. After Brian was killed, John Johnson vowed for vengeance against Carissa. But Carissa was not evil but good. But she had tried to prevent the Atlantean primes, King Atlantean and his two brothers, Actilion and Zillion, and their big bodyguard, from fearing. But John Johnson realized this. The Allies defeated her, but she gave John Johnson a sword, a long sword, to fight the Atlantean primes. And after she was defeated, and he was shown a vision with what was really supposed to happen, and then John Johnson realized what's going on. He was the Atlanteans were not, Albinos were not as bad as he thought. Then sometime then went with them to the dimension. He stayed in Scholastica, which was Planet Atlantis. The Atlanteans appeared. But then the Atlantean, who was the oldest and strongest of the brothers, but not the king, had the ability to turn to giant waves and, just wipe out everybody. And he wiped out St. Francis. It then still survived and then fought bravely against them. The Atlanteans were impressed, wanted them to join him, but Dan was too loyal to the Scholastica cause. And he died nobly in battle. Dan met his end, and the remaining of the Scholastica forces retreated to the leadership of John Johnson as Nicol Raleigh, Dan's right hand, was captured by the Atlanteans. War ensued. Okay, before the Atlanteans appeared, after the Albino were expelled, this is why Dan was still in the planet. The Bedouins, and by Bataan, Samson, Prime, and the Batalkan, and everyone else, the known outsiders of Scholastica, fought against then the Orange, the dragon, collagen dragon that was being held by the Albino, and John Johnson, their forces, and rent Scholastica clean of outsiders. John Johnson went out to the universe to discover more about the secrets of his past and his lineage, and Dan was still on the planet when the Atlanteans came. Anyway, up they came. Dan died. Another war ensued. John Johnson had to fight with the Atlanteans during this time. Another time distortion happened. Fight with King Carlo again. This time it was a distortion that Siegfried had succeeded in killing Calvin, King Carlo, and Constantine and Caratine. Without so small troops retreated and were fighting against the Scorpion and Cobra. They overcome them, then they overcome Siegfried, and then they won. And then Tabitha, Bahara's daughter, was rescued by a mysterious woman with strange abilities, dark hands, and said, "I cannot lose you, you're too powerful to lose," or whatever. And then the King Carlo was thrusted along with Sarah Lee, the Tiger and Queen, and all that. They were pushed to this new reality, and they had to collaborate with John Johnson, another insurance, to defeat the Atlanteans. And the older brother got killed, right? Because the Atlanteans had a bunch of insurance secretly, like spies, within John Johnson's troops. They schemed of Andish issue, and Siki, but Siki turned back and joined John Johnson at the end. Constantine King Carlo was going his force as well, but the powerful Warzark of the Atlanteans and Aventus issue betrayed John Johnson. I was going to kill him, but John Johnson managed to survive and defeat Siki, converted Siki, and Siki helped him defeat Advantage Issue and push back Zark. And then they killed the Atlanteans, and the Atlanteans were defeated. Then John Johnson went to face the King Atlantis. He pushed the King Atlantis, who had the ability to control all the lost souls from Hades and losing the fight, him and all that stuff. But John Johnson rallied the spirits to resist the evil master, and the spirits tried King Atlantis straight to hell, and that was that. And the two ensuring powers were at peace at time, but Constantine wanted complete control, and so war consumed between King Carlo and John Johnson's forces. During this time, however, Diana the Floor came back again with Tabitha, and it was another distortion in time. The King Being was in the Sumatran galaxy, and was rising up an army to attack and to take the powers of Earth Era that also appeared. But she stopped him and went to his own planet and destroyed him and told him this was the KGM being the third universe and told him that the child that was in Neo that you killed and pushed down the ledge, that child is me. I, Diana LaFleur, the granddaughter of Andrew LaFleur, has come for your head. And so KGB ran up to the giant mech to face her. Then she used her dark spirit hands or whatever to combat and defeat him. Tesha was dead, KGB's right hand. And then the Commonwealth, the mass armies of so much and whatever, KGB enslaved. Diana said, I free you, you choose to fight with me or do whatever you wish. So they decided to fight with Diana. And then now LaFleur, Andrew LaFleur, not the original one, came and he was married to a Commonwealth and whatever, was married to a woman and all that. And a bunch of different people appeared, Bankron and all these different stuff. And Diana LaFleur and the LaFleurs came to be a third party and took majority of the dimensions where the JS and Kikolo were fighting, and the LaFleurs and Kikolo decided to work together to defeat JS and all these different stuff. And the LaFleurs on the road to victory. But however, some of the elder troops that were with Diana but did not like the way she was acting, as she was being persuaded by the spirit of King Atlantis and flirted with the evil king and became the Golden Goddess. A clear blasphemous title that goes against God himself. And so some of the elders and then chose to go like, no, we're not going to do this, we're not going to stop with this. And so they went to and chose to deal with Tabitha and tried to persuade the queen. But they didn't really saw the Kikolo spy that was there, right? And so they didn't have a good ending. They were controlled by the Golden Goddess to follow her no matter what and all that. And Joseph continued, and the Kikolo spy came, told us Lord was happening, and the Kikolo decided, hey, you know what, we used to join the jails and defeat these chosen people. And so they stopped fighting with John Johnson, and who were on the verge of defeat. But John Johnson used his might and his sword and his years as a mercenary to defend his kingdom against the Etruscan invaders. And then Etruscans was being attacked by both sides until a great ship battle appeared, and then John Johnson set ablaze the navy, which was being led by Andrew LaFleur, and then the navy died. Andrew LaFleur was greatly displeased by this and let down the Golden Goddess. Then she got mad, and then the Kikolo and John Johnson went to the Golden City of Antrozoka, destroyed and slain the Golden Goddess, and was left on the floors for subjugated to the Alliance. And then a great power broke out from hell, and the battle again was come because during the time the King of Atlantis was overpowered the spirits, overcame all the bodies of the hell and took over hell for his own purposes, solely for revenge on John Johnson for getting his own brother, his younger brother, and sort of broke into hell to try and bust him up. But at times he got there, hell was subjugated to King Atlantean. And so the energy burst on Constantine, grabbed John Johnson by the collar and said, I thought you said you dealt with him. And then he said, yeah, I just dragged him to hell. Did you kill him? No, you didn't. Oh, you idiot. And then they find the Battle of Armageddon. There's this battle, all the main people, Skolostilo were killed, John Johnson was captured, the King Atlantis killed him. All the time, the floor people and some bankrupt people appeared, and Constantine and his forces were fighting the armies of hell itself and all that. And then King Atlantis killed John Johnson, but he rose him back from the dead again, so he could suffer some more. This would be a big mistake, as he drawn about the powers of Scholastica, drawn to himself and saw the power of the great king. And they fought in the sky and all the air and all that. And then John Johnson was pushed up way up in the air. And then King Atlantis was like halfway up in the air, right? And then he was like, I'm going to destroy you myself. And so he started doing this big huge shield thing to shield to form a blast to end him. But John Johnson said no. He was going to give all his energy to one attack, and then he forced himself in the attack to give more favor and sacrifice himself. Broke through the King Atlantis barrier, when True King Atlantean killed him instantly, this destroyed his younger brother, Zork, and forced all the demons and the ghouls and the late Phoenix Fidel and the Pendra Monster and all the bodies from the past back to hell. And with that, the universe was saved, and Constantine Piccolo was left, and then they had to fight a new fight with the Closet Troop, led by Hapia, who was one of the officers, allies of Trump Johnson, but they didn't want to follow King Colo, and also the bank around people that was there. The LaFleurs had a son named David Boer, who was an expert in the blaster. He joined the King Colo reluctantly, as Constantine King Colo had two sons, two twin sons, Naru and Taka. And they started fighting again, and then the plan was to get the Colochu and the Bank Run Alliance against King Colo to fight each other, which did, and the Bank Run and Colochu ended up fighting each other, and Sarah Lee, who was a tiger who was a Colochu, had to make a decision to join the Colochu or Sarah Lord. Constantine gave order to Zoyun the Slayer if she decided to kind of blade against him, but Zoyun convinced his lord not to and saved Sarah Lee from death, and then Sarah Lee and the Lee clan stayed and remained with King Colo to the detriment of the Colochu. The Pankaran were fighting the Colochu, and the Colochu ended up losing first, and then the Pankaran led by Scotia, was led by Queen Commonwealth. Scotia was an evil wizard who was from hell, who held the King Atlantean gained power in hell. In exchange, the wizard gained back his youth. He wanted to make a new LaFleur of the Commonwealth and brand a dark emblem for the Banker to control rule the universe. However, a LaFleur bloodline named Boa was there to stop him. And Boa got his own emblem from the heavens and combined with his blaster to defeat this dark Commonwealth and LaFleur. And the Dark Commonwealth from LaFleur was destroyed along with the Dark Wizard, and the Banker was no more. King Colo ruled. Constantine died, and the two twins, Natu and Taka, remained to rule the universe. However, Bo LaFleur, along with the Guardians and a few others, decided that the King Colo, the Lords of Chaos, cannot rule the universe. So in order to free the universe from King Colo rule once and for all, Boa took up his blaster one last time to overthrow the twins. Kenneth Zoyun, Sarah Lee, and the remaining King Colo people, the twins, and then that was the end of that. Well, LaFleur did not take the universe, but instead he had a son named David LaFleur, who was a smart strategist and oversaw the universe. And the universe continued to grow in the time of Tammy, the warrior, female warrior, with Haldra and Satres, the three women, and Barker, who was another Sharon that quickly took ranks after the fall of King Colo. Was on the verge of conquering the dimensions. A bunch of people was there. But however, this strong cyborg army led by Spiral came from the distant future to destroy the evil hand that had enslaved the universe and brought ruin. And so evil hand came from this time. However, he thought it was Nabaka, since Nabaka was so close to ruling, and defeated Tammy, who was anti-man at first, but Nabaka fell in love with her and decided, if I defeat you in your forces, you have to marry me. So she was defeated, but she was forced into marriage, but they didn't really do anything. At the same time, the so much himself was rising up in the far distance of the cosmos, and Sparrow was trying to fight Nabaka as King Nabaka and his cousins not to fight him. And not reason that this Paul Hera, who was like an independent guy, was the true evil's hand. But Paul Hera did not realize that he was supposed to be like some sort of Antichrist figure until he started plotting to take over and start building his own army, and got Beelzebub to help him form his own army secretly in the mountains to invade when the time was right. And the Spiral defeating Nabaka was the only strong enough force to combat Paul Hera. Paul Hera rose, and Spiral realized that it's Paul Hera that was the true evil, And David LaFleur realized that in the future, he invented Spiral to combat Paul Harrell. But now the forces of Tommy and those who remain out to destroy Paul Harrell, along with Spiral, who had the secret to defeat Paul Harrell before he gained stronger, as Paul Harrell got an evil eye and subverted and come into a complete monster. So they defeated him, Paul Harrell and his forces before he became a monster, and Superman appeared and was enticed by Tommy. Him and Tommy eventually got against the Superman and helped to defeat Paul Harrell. Spiral went back to where we came from, and David LaFleur was like, we being blessed with immortality. And great time distortions have all over the place. So we should stay where we at and not interfere. These people did not listen. As time went on, after her fling with so much, and she moved on to another planet, and they was dealing with their own wars and stuff. And they were like, Tommy's like, she's going to interfere and become a strong woman and all that. Hera, who's a Kichuru, went to another time distortion where Delator, the Dragon Emperor of Kichuru, had won the battle against the Doctor Online, and this time was going to be Ganyana and defeat the angel. And she married Delator and helped them defeat the Guardians and first rule the universe. And as for Sparrow just stayed right there. She was the only one who actually listened to David. And time was greatly distorted then because of their actions, and various other people came up, and the legend of Meldrew and the Bashar became a mighty warrior, and Alive was like a strategist from this other planet, was, this guy's an evil monster demon, and if he rules this world, then all hell's gonna break loose and all that. And there was still a rivalry, but Meldrew defeated him in their world, but time and space was altered. It's another scholastical type world that appeared as well. And Conversive, the cousin of Kinkalo, who was originally evil, had became somewhat good and formed the light and walked time and space again and created a new dimension, all these different people. And his right hand focus was a mighty powerful warrior. And now all the heroes were stuck in this new dimensional plane, and it was up to all these other people to help fight and help Meldrew get together with his beloved Natasha to be together to defeat Conversive and Focus, and to understand another hero from another planet who was a lawless criminal at first but became good, was Jax, because him and his other friend were on different sides. Jax was on Resistance, and Back was with Conversive, and the Brass Empire and different people and many other empires and planets that were made during this time. The universe will converge up to Conversive, and all these different people in the Resistance resisted the light of Conversive and his enslavement and beat back him, and Natasha and Meldrew got together in the prison after she was freed, because Alive was telling Conversive needed to kill her, so they wouldn't born the baby that brought ruin to the universe. Then they listened to Alive's advice, and then after that, Conversive was defeated, Alive was defeated, Focus also was defeated, and all that good stuff. The Resistance won, and all those forces under Conversive lived and survived to live together and all that stuff. And after such time, way in the future, Meldrew's Bashar grew descendants and started to invade the universe. That was a new universe consistent after Conversive, which was going against the rules of being neutral and all that good stuff. And they were defeated, right? And an descendant from that power known as Aquafina was being used by Tween and Alexa to form the genesis of the new and improved perfection, Utami and Hera and David LaFleur and Sergio And so Bertrand and Tammy, so much as son, Samaritan will have to fight. And then it gets closer and closer towards the end.